Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Flourish with Ashley. And here I talk about breaking the weight cycle and living an abundant life that God has for you, even today in your season of singleness. So lately, I've been on a reality game show kick. Honestly, I love all of them, Big Brother, Survivor, and I noticed, of course, if you're watching something on Netflix, they always recommend something based off what you previously watched. And so they've been suggesting a lot of those type survivalist shows to me, and I've been watching them and enjoying myself. And so I came across I guess an older show that had a few seasons, Outlast. But during my current binging, I had a thought, or God dropped a thought into my mind about how everything comes back to fire and water. You know, as a survivalist, like currently they're out in Alaska. They're not going to get any, food, not be able to boil any water to drink or have any fire for warmth during the cold nights. So if they never can build that fire, they're going to go without basically and have to flare out or, give up and leave pretty soon because they're not unable to do anything. And as well with water, you can only go 3 days without water before your body starts to just, start to shut down on you. And that reminded me of how those two elements, those two main elements, come up in the Bible, of course, having being born again, being baptized, going down in water and coming up as the new birth, how that's important piece in salvation. Um, and also just with fire, when I think about fire, we think about the Holy Spirit and Pentecost, and also that rebirth of being born again and, God's Spirit coming down on you. And it was just funny how that thought came to mind just in my, casual watching on a Saturday morning, how, everything comes back to God, in our daily lives. So it doesn't matter what you're doing. Everything comes back to God. Like, you could think that's something that's mindless, but if he wants the attention on him, he's gonna redirect your thoughts, honestly. And so I thought it was a good reminder, not just for me, but just for anyone, honestly, just keep that in mind, if you're growing your relationship or you want to start and begin your relationship with God, that fire and that water, those are the two main things you need. So, and also it's important to note that it can't just be any water that you're drinking, especially when you're out in the wild. Specifically, they look for either running water or rainwater. But if you're just gonna drink anything that's been sitting or still, that you run the risk of parasites and diseases and bacteria that's in the water. So just like in our daily lives and our spiritual lives, we have to be careful of the water that we intake because even spiritually, like what's feeding into you, like what are you allowing to be poured into you to develop you and birth you on your journey. So I thought that was actually a good reminder too, to be careful and make sure that the water that you are ingesting is pure and from the correct source, which is Jesus Christ. I hope that encourages you, gives you a reminder, um, just if you're looking to start your journey, you know, a relationship with God is important, even not only in singleness, but in all stages of life. And if you're wanting to live that abundant life, that you have to do it definitely with Him. So until next time, I hope that this encourages you, share it with someone that you may know, and keep flourishing.